Let's catch up with some Spurs news and notes, and then let's have a game. Who does Stephon Castle comp to when it comes to past Spurs or present?
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to Locked On Spurs on Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Glad to have y'all back. Hope everybody's having a great work week, and we'll get you through it right here. TGIF, everybody, on Locked On Spurs. I was just fixing my mic right now. It's kind of tilted a bit, and so anyway, yeah, thanks for subscribing to Locked On Spurs. You guys are the best, making Locked On Spurs your first stop for all things silver and black. And subscribe wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Ken's 5 Plus app, iTunes, Spotify, the list goes on and on. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more with FanDuel. FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus this summer daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. What are we talking about today? Well, we're going to be looking at some quick Spurs news and notes. Won't take up too much of your time. And then bring in our guest, Mike Himenez of the AlamoCity Sportscast. We're going to be having a game here. We're going to be looking at Stephon Castle and who does it compare to when it comes to past Spurs, present Spurs, or ex-Spurs. You'll see where we're going to go with this in just a few minutes. And then talk about you guys, Locked On Spurs fans, in the comments you are leaving. But first up, some San Antonio Spurs news. And Wemby. Well, the Olympics start today. So opening ceremonies, everything's going to be going on. And the basketball tournament is just right around the corner. But Wemby, he is excited to be taking part in it. And he's actually just thrilled that he gets to represent Team France. He says it's still a dream to be able to be at the Olympic Games. It's still a dream. And it's different from when he used to watch them on TV. He said that during a pre-Olympic press conference. So he's very excited. But in their final game, tune-up game, I should say, before the real games began, they had an exhibition game. I think it was against Germany. But the point is that I never thought I would see a 7'4" skinny kid like Wemby just do an amazing dunk. Here's a picture of it right here. So take a look at this picture here of him just going up for the attempt to dunk. And by the way, he made it, everybody. That's just crazy, huh? That's crazy. That's courtesy of the French international team. And he made that dunk. So Wemby just being Wemby. And again, the Team France, Team USA, the basketball tournament starts this weekend. Team France, for those of you who are wondering, will play in group play first, just like all the other teams. So Team France has Japan, Germany, and Brazil. They'll get their game started against those teams. In other Spurs news, apparently a pair of guards were looking to join the Spurs. According to Yahoo Sports, Trae Young and Josh Giddey expressed interest in joining the Spurs. According to Yahoo, Trae Young, well, I think everybody knows this by now. He's been on the Spurs wish list for a long time. But he did personally express interest in joining San Antonio. And Josh Giddey as well. Like, Young has been circling around the rumor mill with the Spurs for months on end, so that wasn't too much surprising. But it feels like Atlanta's going to keep him on board after they traded former Spur DeJounte Murray to the Pelicans. Now, Giddey would have been interesting. Dynamic passer, but he fell out of favor in Oklahoma City. Subpar playoff performances, just an erratic play. He ended up being traded to the Bulls. But what could have been, huh? Imagine Josh Giddey and or Trae Young in the Spurs uniform. But obviously we all know where the Spurs went. They went with Chris Paul and Harrison Barnes. That is your quick Spurs news and notes. When we get back, we're going to be joined by Mike Himenez of the AlamoCity Sportscast on YouTube. We're going to be having a game here. We're going to take Stephon Castle and then try to see who does he compare to as far as former Spurs, present Spurs, or ex-Spurs. You'll see where we're doing this. And then talk about you guys Locked On Spurs fans. That's coming up next right here on Locked On Spurs. But first, I want to talk to you about FanDuel. Look, I love sports. You love sports. You never want them to stop, right? But as we enter the doldrums of the NBA offseason, you can still have the fun going on with FanDuel. It'll let you keep sports going whenever you want. All you can do is open the app, dream up any bets anytime, and hopefully you'll get those winnings. This summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a booster or bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day all summer long. You want to go to FanDuel.com right now, get the app, make an account. If you get the app, it's very easy to use, user-friendly. Doesn't take long to get your picks in. 1, 2, 3, you're done. You can bet on parlays, spread. Just think of something FanDuel will have it there for you. Start making the most out of your summer with FanDuel. FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball.
A Jedi uses the Force. To subscribe to Locked On Spurs, pass on what you have learned.
Look, I don't think this guy needs any introduction. Y'all know him. You love him. He is Mike Himenez. Look at that, showing off the Castle jersey. For a minute there, I thought it was the Robert Horry jersey. But no, it's the Castle jersey. He is Mike Himenez. Follow him on X at MJ Acquired Taste. Live and outdoors from San Antonio there. Hey, you know what? You're not in heavens anymore. There's no more clouds, though.
Like no, I have this propped up against my truck, man. So it looks good. I like it.
He's with the AlamoCity Sportscast on YouTube. He'll talk about that in just a few minutes. Look, he's giving it away. We know why he's here. You can see it on the screen. You can see it on his jersey. We're going to put in the spotlight Stephon Castle. Now, Jimenez, this is actually a branch off of your talk on AlamoCity a couple of days ago about his projection, his ceiling. Where do you see him at? What's his comp if we're going to compare him to a current or past Spur? And I think we came to a consensus. He could be another Alvin Robertson.
That's an interesting take because we were talking about that on the AlamoCity Sportscast. And we had thrown out names before. We had thrown out names like Derek White. We had thrown out names that were defensive-minded, Bruce Bowen type of player. But offensively, he can bring it. But defensively, it's just one of those things where we were looking at it. We were talking about past players for the Spurs. And the name Alvin Robertson came up, and we were just in awe of Alvin. Alvin was a 4-time All-Star, 3 times with the Spurs. Alvin still holds the record for most steals in a single season in the NBA almost 40 years later. It's we forget how great of a defensive player he was. And we thought about it, is Stephon Castle defensively that kind of guy because they're similar size, similar builds? Kawhi, different type of body type. But you look at Alvin Robertson back in the day, back in the early mid-'80s, man, what a great player he was. I know that personally he wasn't that guy, that great of a guy. Yeah. But on the court as a Spur, if you were to have like an all-time Spurs team, Alvin Robertson would be in that lineup, that 12-man roster.
Yeah. I like the comp. Obviously, we're talking about on the court, not off the court. And on the court, there, he's got a ways to go to get to where Alvin was on the court. Alvin was a multiple all-time All-Star, a most improved player, a defensive player of the year. That steals record that is just insane. It took years, decades for it to get destroyed. Here's the thing, though. Alvin could do it both ends of the court. He was Kawhi Leonard before Kawhi Leonard. He was a double-figure scorer and a defensive menace. His contemporaries at that time would say they would fear to play Alvin on the court because he was that much of a lockdown defensive guy. And he had that dog in him on the court. He had that dog in him on the court. Do you think Castle can have that mentality? Because what we see in a very small sample size and in interviews, he's kind of stoic. He's kind of quiet. Alvin, got in people's faces.
Alvin did, and this is a great conversation because, you have to be of a certain age to remember a player like Alvin Robertson and how great he was defensively. Not only does he still have the NBA record for most steals in a single season, he's 4 of the top 10 all time for single seasons. Amazing, but you look at it, you're right. Castle is a more stoic guy. He's a little bit more within himself. But we've seen this in college. We've seen this in the summer league. He swallows people up. He can guard the 1, 2, or 3. And the game is different, right? The game is more offensive oriented than it was back in the day. But Castle's not afraid of a defensive matchup. The day he got drafted by the Spurs, what did he say? That night, who do you want to play first? Who do you want to D up first? His response was, I want to see what it's like to go up against Luka Doncic.
I love that.
And I absolutely loved it. I was like, that is my guy. I've been calling for this guy to be on the Spurs for months. And this was before the draft, months before the draft, because I saw this guy's character. I saw what he brought to the table. And I thought that he was a great compliment to a Victor Wembanyama. But asking the question, can he be an Alvin type of player? It depends on what they're asking of him to guard. Because, They've been using Sohan as the guy to go guard Luka. They've been using Sohan as the guy to go guard these big
Yeah.
point guards. But now they don't have to do that necessarily. Now they can show a different speed. They can show a different line of attack where they're going up against the Mavericks. You have Luka Doncic. Go sick Wemby on him for a few plays.
Sure.
Then go sick Sohan. Then go sick Castle. It gives a different look every single time. It's like pitching now, where it's curveball, fastball, curveball, slider. And the Spurs now have the ability to do that defensively, which is why I like Castle on this team so much, is that it gives a different look, a different dynamic. We talk so much about what needs to happen offensively, but the Spurs are getting better defensively, adding a Harrison Barnes, adding a Chris Paul. This is a better team defensively, and I don't think that people realize or give that much credit for it because we're so focused on three-point shooting. We're so focused on can they get the ball into the hoop. We forget that there's a second part of the game, which is defense.
Yeah, and obviously different eras. Castle's playing in the modern era, and obviously, is more offensive flowing, three-point shooting, high scoring. Alvin played in a time where it was defensive focused. It was grittier. It was a little, rougher in the league at that time. Hand checking was allowed.
Yeah,
they don't allow hand checking. That and Alvin was on the court a strong dude. This guy was strong. If for those of y'all who grew up in that era, Jimenez and I remember this. There used to be a poster. It was like a very popular poster of Alvin, and he's kind of outstretched, wearing the classic ABA jersey. It said San Antonio on it, black D20. He was 21 before 21. He had the Tim Duncan numbers.
Yeah.
And he's like dunking the ball, but it's kind of like he's like horizontal to the rim.
He was ripped.
And he was ripped. He was strong. He was a beast. Alvin is a great comp, but is there any other past Spur or present Spur you think he can compare to? Is it Derek White? Is it that more realistic Derek White?
On a defensive side of the ball, yes. I mean, the most accurate one's going to be Derek White. Yeah. It's whether he can morph into the Bruce Bowen / Alvin Robertson kind of mold. Talking on a defensive end, that's the way that I would look. But offensively, it's a little bit different because I think offensively, obviously Derek White's a better three-point shooter, better outside shooter. But already Stephon Castle is better at driving the ball. I think Stephon Castle is a better passer. I think he's better at filling the lanes and better on the break. So it's a little bit different. I think that Derek White, though, is not a bad comparison. If we told everybody that, hey, in this draft, the worst case scenario, we're getting a Derek White or a Drew Holiday type of player, we'd be all about it. I'm excited about this. I think that this draft is going to go down as the 3 and 4 picks in the draft. Reed Sheppard, Stephon Castle being the two best players in this draft if they were to redraft years down the road. I personally believe that because I think that we got the right guy. I was not exactly 100% sold on Alex Sarr, 100% sold on Zachary Reese-Archet. But Reed Sheppard and Stephon Castle, I bet you are going to be the class acts this year.
Yeah. Castle, he's up there projected to win the Rookie of the Year award. Not the best guy, the number one projected according to Vegas. They still have Reese-Archet and Sarr up there. But I wouldn't be surprised if Castle gets that award. All rookie team, I could definitely see that happening for him. But the key is, though, will he play? He has CP3 ahead of him. He has Trey Jones ahead of him as of now. He'll show out in camp. Do you think Pop and his notorious way of bringing rookies along slowly could impact that?
No, I don't think so. I think Pop is past all that. We saw that with Jeremy Sohan. Sohan started all but 3 of his games as a rookie. Sohan was the 9th overall pick in the draft. Sohan was not as ready as Castle was going into the NBA. Castle was an NBA body with an NBA talent and NBA motor. Sohan, brings intangibles onto the court. Sohan does the little things that don't necessarily show up on the box score. But Sohan was considered to be a raw talent entering the NBA, right? And you hear that word raw, even though he was the 9th pick overall. Castle was never considered to be raw. Castle has a defensive presence that's NBA ready. He has an NBA skill set. Offensively, he has the great passing basketball IQ. It's just, can he learn to shoot outside 18 feet? And that's going to be the one thing that the Spurs are going to have to figure out. The shot doesn't look bad. It just doesn't go in very often.
No, it doesn't look bad. Yeah, his shot doesn't look bad. It's not horrible. It's not, oh my goodness, this is a project. It
Right.
just needs some fine tuning. That's about it. And he showed it. He hit a near half court shot in summer league play. Will definitely knock him down the mid range. So he'll be fine. I think he'll be fine. I think for me is what could hold him back is pop. Maybe just bring, because the position that he plays. He was hard on DeJounte Murray. He was hard on Tony Parker. Will he continue that? And I think CP3 is going to help him along and whatnot. CP3 went to Wake Forest recently to reunite with his old alma mater. He was out there running with a young kid. So I think he's okay. Even though he says he doesn't want to coach Jimenez, it looks like he's okay with being a mentor and coach. Castle, though, we talked about the comps. Past or present Spurs. Alvin Robertson, Derek White is in there. We mentioned his name, Kawhi Leonard. You think that's too much, though, for Kawhi Leonard comp?
When Kawhi Leonard came into the league, he was all defense and did not have any offensive game. Then he worked with Chip Anglin, developed a shot, and the rest was history. He became one of the best players of the last 10 years in the NBA, even though he's always injured. I mean, the guy's going to be a Hall of Famer. And part of that is because of his stop here in San Antonio. I'm not saying that I doubt that or deny that. I mean, you go back to Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard was defensive-minded, did not have the shot. And I don't necessarily believe that Kawhi Leonard also could fill the break the way that Stephon Castle can. Castle has been saying for the longest time that he played out of position at UConn. He was the number 4 pick overall in the draft, and he was like, I'm out of position. But the idea that he can play the 2, that he can play the 3, can play the 1, I don't know if the comp is the same necessarily, because Kawhi Leonard was a 3. That's what he was. He wasn't going to play the 4 very often. He wasn't going to play the 2. He was just a 3. Stephon Castle legitimately can play point guard and take minutes away from a Trey Jones. He legitimately can back up Devin Vassell when Vassell's out there, or when Vassell's going to miss the 20 games that he always does in a season, right? And then you look at Keldon Johnson. That's the name that I think is the odd man out, because at a 6'6", what are you, 215? He's a big body, man. We call Keldon Johnson big body. Stand him up against Stephon Castle. Who has the bigger body?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, our future point guard has a bigger body than the guy we call big body who plays small forward, right? So that's why I'm not worried about the minutes when it comes to Castle, because he plays the 1, 2, and 3. He can take minutes from each of those players, each of those positions, and be a jack of all trades. Ultimately, he's going to want to play the 1. But we saw this in Oklahoma City when Chris Paul was there. Chris Paul was the starter. SGA played the 2. And he didn't take over the 1 until Chris Paul left. And Chris Paul mentored him. So I'm excited to see what Chris Paul does on the court, but I'm also more excited about what he can do and bring to this team when it comes to the corporate knowledge, when it comes to teaching these players how to be NBA stars, or teaching them how to be good at their craft. And this is a good developmental season. I'm all aboard with everything the Spurs have done this offseason.
I'm throwing it out there as far as just comps. I'm thinking about this. Would you throw in DeJounte Murray in the stack as well as far as comps? Murray's a little bit more finesse, a little bit more, I don't know. They both are good defensive players. They both, DeJounte turned into a great offensive player.
Right.
Oh, man. DeJounte Murray comp for Castle?
DeJounte would get a lot of steals. Would get a lot of steals based on deflections. Would get a lot of steals based on the length of his arms and the ability to go out there and deflect passes and get into passing lanes. I see the defensive skill set of Stephon Castle being more similar to Bruce Bowen, where he just locks you down. Yeah. He locks you down, man to man, as opposed to going out there and stealing the passes. He's locking you down. He's picking your pocket. And I thought DeJounte Murray was more about his length than he was his feet.
So we have Alvin, we have Derek. Probably don't throw in Kawhi in there. Maybe DeJounte.
Bowen.
But Bowen. But I don't know. I think offensively, Castle may, as of right now, may have a leg up offensively on.
Well, Bowen only had the 3-point shot from the corner. That's all he had.
Yeah, and that's how it was. I think obviously Castle can do a lot more, but defensively, maybe it's there. But look, either way, however shake it out, it's still a good thing. If you get another Alvin Robertson on the court, then oh no, not that. If you get another Derek White, which seems to be more reasonable, sure, great. Derek White turned into a phenomenal player, championship now. Team USA. The list goes on and on. Either way, the Spurs are sitting pretty, and they might have their point guard / guard of the future. Hey, but that's who we think Castle compares to past or present Spurs. Look at Jimenez rocking that jersey. You got it pretty fast, though. That was a pretty quick turnaround.
Yeah, so I've got two coming in. One is this one, which is the first one that came out is the Fanatics one. The second one that's coming out is the official one, the Nike logo one. That one's going to be coming out in a couple of weeks.
All right. Well, Jimenez is going to be rocking the Castle jersey all season long. And likely on his show, AlamoCity Sportscast. More on that later. Hey, when we get back, we're going to catch up on some your comments. What are y'all talking about over at the Locked On Spurs YouTube page? Hey, but let's talk about Game Time. You want to go to gametime.co right now. Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball. Makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer you get to for the first pitch. Killer last minute deals. You got all-in prices, views from your seat, lowest price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. Not only got the lowest price guarantee, they have event cancellation, job loss protection, flash deals, zone deals, every kind of event that's in your area. You need a ticket, you want to go to Game Time. So about those zone deals, you can save even more when you choose a section and let Game Time pick the seats. Flash deals, you can save even more with exclusive in-app deals on select seats ahead of the game. Let me tell you about these last minute deals. You can save up to 60% off buying last minute tickets for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, whatever you need. Go to Game Time right now. The lowest price guarantee or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNBA. That'll get you $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, the lowest price guaranteed.
Hey, this is Hot Rod.
And I'm RC from the San Antonio Spurs.
And you're listening to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia.
And we're back right here on Locked On Spurs with Mike Himenez from his yard, from his outside yard. Look at that. Look at that. Jimenez always got to be different. Rocking the Castle jersey. Look at that. Look at that. Dancing around. He loves his Castle jersey. Loves the player.
My son.
Your son, yeah. We just finished talking about Castle. Now we're going to talk about you guys, Locked On Spurs fans in the comments, and we're going to react to them right here. All right. So the first comment Jimenez comes from Ranji of Austin 8867. He says, yes, the entire league has always slept on the Spurs. Might be because of the media's false narrative that they're a boring team. We prefer it that way. Now, he's reacting to a recent Locked On Spurs where he asked the question, are the Spurs getting slept on heading into the new season? He feels that they are. What do you think?
It all depends on how Wemby does, right? I mean, if Wemby's healthy, if Wemby takes another leap. I mean, I was just watching earlier today, Wemby doing warm-ups and doing windmill dunks and bicycle-type dunks and do it effortlessly. And it just seems as though with the FIBA ball going on that he seems to be a lot more comfortable, a lot more confident out there. Does he take the leap into a top 5 player in the NBA? He was playing like a top 15 player as the season ended. Kind of came out of the gate. They didn't know what position to play him. They were kind of trying different scenarios, Sohan at point guard, whatever the case may be. When they finally slid Wemby into the 5, suddenly he was playing like a top 10, top 15 player. Didn't make the All-Star team, but obviously second in defensive player of the year. If Wemby is taking that leap and is suddenly a top 5 to top 8 player in the NBA, then yes, the Spurs are being slept on because the Spurs now have a point guard in Chris Paul who can get him the ball, who's going to be teaching the younger guys in Castle and Jones. You're going to see more consistency when it comes to the 3 position with Harrison Barnes as opposed to Julian Champagnie. The Spurs might very well be slept on a bit. Now, do I think the Spurs are going to go off and win 50 games? No. But DraftKings has them, at 35.5 as the over-under?
35.5 yeah.
I have the Spurs
35, yeah.
I have the Spurs slightly over that, maybe 36, 37. But, man, that's assuming Wemby takes a mini leap. If Wemby takes that leap that we typically see from a star in years 3 and 4, he takes it early, then we can be in for a very enjoyable season.
Yeah, I'm with you too. I do think the Spurs are not going to be slept on anymore. Maybe they were last year, and obviously for a big reason. 22 win season ain't going to help. But I think going into the new season, you add Barnes, you add Paul, you add a seasoned team that's pretty much running it back. Obviously, the Wemby factor. Yeah, I don't think teams will be sleeping on the Spurs next season. All right, thank you for that comment. The next comment is from Michael R8884. We're talking about comps. We did player comps a little while ago with Castle right now. Well, he's doing a player comp right now. He says Vassell could be Chris Middleton to Wemby. What do you think about that? You think that's a comp for Vassell, him to Chris Middleton, and then being the Robin to Wemby's Batman?
Well, and that's the thing. You have to ask yourself the question, where in the pecking order is Devin Vassell on this team? I mean, Vassell obviously is somebody that can throw threes down at a 39-40% clip and average, 19, 20 points per game. Vassell's a bucket getter, but he does have some injury concerns, misses about 15 games a year with injury consistently year in, year out. But it's either number 2 or the number 3 guy. As of right now, he's the number 2 guy because, he's the best outside shooter the Spurs have. If the Spurs end up getting a Lauri Markkanen type of player down the road or a Brandon Ingram, if the Spurs are not done with building this team this offseason, then he slides to the number 3 spot. But the idea of a Chris Middleton type of analogy to a Giannis does make a lot of sense because Chris Middleton is somebody who can get you the bucket when needed. But it's when needed. Understand that Giannis gets the ball first. Giannis gets his touches. Giannis gets his shots. Middleton takes what's left. Be ready. Be ready on the outside to knock down some threes. I think Vassell has a Chris Middleton mold in him. I think he can be better than a Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton has made an all-star team before, if I'm not mistaken. But I like the comparison.
Yeah, look, Chris Middleton is not a bad player to be compared to, as far as Devin Vassell's ceiling. I do think Devin Vassell has a higher ceiling than Middleton. I'm hoping he has a higher ceiling than Middleton, but hey, if that's all he reaches and it's Middleton / Vassell in San Antonio with Wemby, I'm be okay with that. Hey, thanks y'all for leaving these comments here on Locked On Spurs. Jimenez got to go. He has his show coming up. Speaking of your show, Jimenez, what's going on? And congratulations, y'all guys hit over 1K subscribers.
That's right. We hit over 1,000. We're at 1,040, if I'm not mistaken. So we're already making our march to 2,000. We do sports, pop culture, nostalgia. We come on live from 10 to about 11:30 every morning, Monday through Friday. You are oftentimes on the show on Wednesdays, but we also have people like James Pledger from San Antonio Sports Star. A lot of different guests that come through. We've had Goldberg, WWE Hall of Famer, famous actor as well. We had the Von Erichs. It's a fun show where we just talk sports, but then we talk a lot of guy talk. It's a lot of locker room talk. We get really silly. We talk about movies and pop culture and a lot of apparently some bad takes that I have that people accuse me of. But it's the AlamoCity Sportscast. It's on YouTube. We also come out on Facebook and Twitter as well. It's a fun show. It's a fun time. We enjoy it.
Definitely is. It's a great show. Very interactive. Jimenez and Joe, they read all the comments that y'all leave there. Very, very good show. Go subscribe. Help them get, more than 1,000. Let's start the march to 2,000 subscribers and go do that right now. Hey, thanks for making Locked On Spurs your first listen every day. We'll be back next week talking all things silver and black. Might start slowing things down here on Locked On Spurs. Maybe not every day, so just a heads up beginning next week. iTunes, Spotify, Kens 5 Plus app. Follow us wherever you can. Locked On Sports Today, 24/7 streaming channel, only on YouTube. Brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network. Go subscribe to that as well. So for Mike Himenez, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock. Look at that. Go ahead one more time before the weekend. Right here on Locked On Spurs.